Hello everyone, and welcome to your very first video from Code Perfect. Today's video is going to involve installing Java, both manually and programmatically. As probably most of you know, Java is one of those things that can be a huge headache. You can get multiple versions on your machine, start hosing up your registries. Not good at all. So the first thing we're going to do is just jump right into this operating system, which I am running Vista. I apologize, but it is a good operating system to test and debug on, considering it wasn't exactly the best implementation in the first place. So first thing we're going to do, let's check to see if this machine has Java or not. There are many different ways we can determine if we have Java or not. I'm going to go through them very quickly because if you're currently watching this video, most likely you already know you don't have Java, else why would you be here? So the easiest way you can do it is go to your computer C drive, navigate to where Java will be installed by default. It does go into your 86 folder, and you can see here there is currently no Java folder within my directory. Don't get fooled by times 86. That is a 32-bit folder. By default, times 86 is 32-bit, just the normal program files is 64-bit. That does come into play when we start downloading our current Java, because there are different versions of it and different bits. So we see right there, there's no Java. The last thing we can do is go into your command prompt and type Java-version. As you can see, it errors out, doesn't know what the heck you're typing. That's because not only do we not have Java, but we don't have our environment variable set up, which is very important and we'll do a little bit later. The last test that we can do is go out to whatever browser you prefer, Opera, Chrome, Safari if you're a Macer, type test Java. And this is what's really cool with Google Chrome. It's one of my favorite browsers. Not only do you get denied from the Java website itself, but Google has a little bit of an agreement and lets you know right away, hey, I don't got Java. Would you like to install the plugin? You can do this, but when you do this, it does get a little bit hairy and it can cause more issues and cause more trouble than it's helping. Alright, so at this point we've determined in 3 different ways that we do not have Java on our machine. So what we need to do is go out to the Oracle website and download our correct version of Java. So what I like to do is just go out here and let's Google it. So what we can type is download Java and just pick one of the links. You can probably come down here. This is the easiest one, should be 4th or 5th down. Click on Java SE downloads. This will take you to the development kit download page. You'll notice there are lots of different Java versions over many different platforms and operating systems. The one we're looking for is the Windows times 86. This is a 32-bit one. I am running this because I'm on Vista. Feel free to explore 64 if you like to, but for the purpose of this tutorial, we'll stick with 86/32-bit. One thing you need to remember to do is up here, there's this Accept License Agreement button. Hit that, because if you don't, you will get a pop-up letting you know, hey, you didn't agree to our agreement. What do you think you're doing? Alright, once you have that button checked here, you'll get that thank you for accepting, which is good. Let's go down to our download, which is the Windows 86. Reminder, this is a 32-bit version. The size of this installation is 123 meg. Keep that in mind when you're downloading. It does take a few minutes to get to your PC, and this is the name of the installation. Since it will take a few minutes, I've already taken the privilege of pre-downloading it, and it should be in my downloads folder. So I'll go ahead and minimize this. Easiest way to get my downloads folder for me is to hit the Windows flag key beside the control button. Just type in downloads and hit enter, and it will take us to our downloads directory where you can see we have the Java installation 86. So let's go ahead and install this. Hit run, and it'll just take us through the Java Oracle installation process. Over here on the left hand side, you'll see the types of products they're going to be installing. You'll get the JDK and JRE. If you're not familiar with that, go ahead and educate yourself with it, because it is kind of useful to know. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. On the right hand side, it gives you a little bit more description of exactly the internal specs of this installation. It does take 300 meg, keep that in mind, because it is a hefty amount, and those of us that are running a little bit older operating systems, especially anyone on an XP, 300 meg is very precious because you may only have 60 gig on there, so keep that in mind. Last thing I want to point out is the default installation directory that Oracle defaults to. This is correct. I always leave it the same as is. I don't like to mess with it because it is going to a 32-bit directory, and it's just easier not to mess with things, especially if things go wrong. So you hit next, and it's going to pop up the status window. This does take about 5 to 10 minutes depending on how fast your machine is to download. I'm going to go ahead and let it do its thing, and once complete, we'll be back talking. Alright, so the only thing that was not shown was in the middle of the installation you will get another request to hit next. All it's asking you is to confirm that you want to install to that JRE bin. Just go with the default. It will let you know that's okay. Hit next and the extraction will continue, and at the end you'll get a successful screen letting you know, hey, everything's good to go. You can hit close and you'll be back at your desktop. So I'll go ahead and minimize this, because what we're going to do next is validate that the installation was successful and we do have the version of Java that we have, or that we desired, and that's in the right location. And there's multiple ways that we can check. The easiest one is go to Computer in your C drive, Program Files, and hit Java. You can see here we have two directories. One is the JDK, which is the Java Development Kit. The other one is JRE 7, and both of them are filled with file content, so that's always good. You got your bin, you got your database, you got your JRE. So it looks like everything's good to go, and that was a successful installation. At this point, what we've done is validate that we currently don't have Java, so we don't have any corruptions. We found that we don't. The next thing that we did is go out and make sure that we get the correct Java installation, which for us was the 32-bit, or at least in my case was the 32-bit. Extracted it, installed it, and we had a successful install. The last thing we're going to do, first we're going to do it automated, programmatically rather, and then we're going to do it manual, so you see it both ways and you can appreciate the approach that I'm about to show you. What we need to do is set up our operating system environment variables to our Java home, and then edit our path variable so that it includes the JRE. So first way I'm going to show you is programmatically. So what you can do is, again, hit the Windows flag key, and you can either hit run and hit the command prompt, or you can just type command prompt here. So mine's customized a little bit. Yours will most likely by default, because not too many people enjoy messing with the properties of this. It'll be a black screen or a black background and then white text. If you need to edit that or you're confused on how to do it, let me know, because it can be a bit overwhelming if you're not exactly for sure what you're dealing with. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start typing some messages to the screen. And earlier in the video I told you I was going to explain these. So what we're going to do is type echo path. What this statement does right here is it basically prints out to the screen an environment variable within our operating system that has links to other directories throughout our file structure. As you can see, we do not see anything that involves any type of Java lingo here. Also, we can do the same thing for Java home. And what's interesting that you'll notice is when we echoed out path, we actually got some structure back. We got some directories. With the echo Java home, we just got the text of Java home. The reason for that is there is currently not an environment variable set up with Java home. So those are the two things we're going to do. The last thing we can see here is if we type Java space hyphen version, you'll notice that it still is not recognizing that we have a Java version. The reason why that is because it still has no idea that we've installed it, because we don't have the mapping correctly. We need to link up the environment variables to the file directories that are currently holding our JRE and the JDK. I mentioned earlier that we are going to do this in two ways, programmatically and manual. I think it will be very useful even to an expert or a novice beginner, wherever your skill level is with the architecture or infrastructure of the operating system, to see how we set up environment variables. It's not bad to bust out some code, and we're going to be doing this through DOS, to properly set up things and be sure we get them done correctly and in an efficient manner. So the first thing we're going to do is go to my cheat sheet here, and I'll explain what these commands mean in one moment once I type them out. So as you can see above, the current value of the Java home variable is nothing. It just printed out the text that we wanted to splash back to the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and paste here, hit enter. Alright, so we have successfully specified a value that was saved. So what we did was we created a new environment variable with the name of Java home, and its value is the file directory of the JDK or Java Development Kit. Now let's go over the setx space -m. First is a setx. The setx keyword says I want you to permanently have this value saved even after this session of command prompt closes. The one thing about DOS is a lot of things that you do only save within that session. What really prevents that from happening here is this X added character. If you have setx, it will permanently saved even after you've closed this window. If you leave it off, it won't save it. The other thing is this -m. -m stands for I want this to be an environment variable. If you don't do that, it will save it to a system variable. When we go through manually, if you haven't seen that dialog box before, you'll be able to see very clearly that there are two separate sections, and it's very important that we stick to the environment variable section. So what we just did for Java Home, we're going to do for path right now. So we're going to echo path. And for those that don't know, if you just tap up on your keyboard a few times, you can scroll through your previous commands. So let's echo path. As you can see, there is currently no Java installation in here. There's no mapping to a Java directory. So we're going to take the command for Java path, put it in here, right click, paste. Alright, and it lets us know this was successful, and we did the same thing as we did with Java Home. So let's go over this one really quickly because there is something really cool and I want to make sure everyone understands. Is if you look at here, we have the path variable and it is existing with these values. So what we said was %, path, %, semicolon, and the rest of the file directory. If we did not have %, path, %, the value of path would just be this right here. It would just be the directory location of the JRE. What this says is currently set this variable to the value of itself, and then add semicolon the directory structure, or the directory location. So all we told it to do was basically append another value to this variable. That's all we did. Now one thing you might notice is if you try and echo these again, which just does throw people off, you don't see it. It does not show our new values. The reason why that is when you have the command prompt open, it doesn't have an auto refresh. It's kind of annoying. I've personally written Microsoft to let them know to fix this because it will throw you off when you're in a hurry and you're trying to figure something out. You'll forget you just need to open up a new one. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So again, your Windows key or start menu, command prompt, and we can echo path. And you see we have the new value with the JRE bin. And then if you do the same thing, you can hit the up arrow, just delete a few times, and do the same thing for Java Home. It says that we have our JDK. Both the values are set. And the last confirmation for this is Java version. And earlier when we typed Java version, it said it didn't recognize the command. Now that we have our proper mappings and we're correctly linked to all of our file directories, it gives us our Java version, our runtime environment, and then our hotspot client that we run. Alright, at this point in time, we have successfully installed Java on your machine programmatically. If you want to stick around for another minute or two, I'm about to show you the manual way to do it, and you'll get a real appreciation for just running those few commands rather than having to go through all the GUIs that we're about to go through. So the first thing you're going to do is close this. We're going to right click on our computer, go to Properties, hit your Advanced System Settings tab on the left side, click Environment Variables, and this is where that setx command comes in play because we have two different windows and it's very easy to click on this edit button when we really need to go down to this section. So what we're going to do first is actually look for our Java because we are going to delete it and do it manually. And since we already set our path to the JRE bin, we're going to delete that as well. And be sure to take off the semicolon. The semicolon may not affect too many things right now, but over time when you keep using that path variable over and over again, you might get a duplication and it might not exactly point and map to the right location. So just a rule of thumb there. Alright, so at this point in time where we're at is we have installed Java and we have not yet set up the environment variables because we just removed all those changes we did programmatically. So I'm going to go back to my cheat sheet and I'm going to copy this. This is what we use to set up our Java Home variable. So what you do, sorry I hit edit, you need to hit new, type Java Home, and then paste in that variable value that we used earlier within that set command. Hit OK, and then find path, hit edit, and within this window, go back to the cheat sheet here. We want this. It's important to use a semicolon here that separates the two mappings. And we have that set. Hit OK. OK. Go ahead, close out of this. And what we're going to do next is go back to our command prompt. So you can click this, and which is your start menu, and hit command prompt. By the way, I do know I have a command prompt shortcut on my desktop just for the purposes of reiterating that the start menu is a great place to find your apps. Just want to make sure that everyone's aware. So just because of my little bit of OCD, I'm going to go ahead and hit click, which is clear, a reminder, and we're going to echo out our environment variables. So the first one we're going to do is Java Home. And you can see we originally removed it, and now we have that value back, which is the JDK, Java Development Kit. And we're also going to do the same thing. You can just hit your up arrow to use your last command and just edit it. Echo path. And you can see that we, again, through manually doing it, we have the JRE bin assigned to the path variable. I do want to point out once more that we have this Programmatic. What this is saying is within your file directory structure, I want you to go down to the second instance that begins with PROGRA. This is a common thing that within IT people use. Sometimes people change it from program 86 to program space something else just because they don't like seeing that 86 in parentheses. This ensures at least we are going to stay out of the 64-bit version and go into the 32-bit version that we intended to. So just an FYI on that. And if we go right here and type Java space -version, you'll see that we do have our version once more. So I know the manual wasn't too time consuming, but again, I went through that very fast, and if you're not used to doing it multiple times, easily done it hundreds of times, it can be a bit cumbersome and annoying as well. At this point, we've done the Java installation, we've done it programmatically, and we've done it manually. I think that's everything for this point in time. Feel free to leave any comments and give me some feedback. I've really enjoyed doing this, and I look forward to doing more videos in the future. Please email me any questions or concerns as well at codeperfectservices@gmail.com. For now, I think that's everything, and enjoy. Thanks for watching Code Perfect.